Hey everybody, welcome to TIW Podcast. I'm Eric, and today I watched WWE NXT TakeOver New York, which I attended live on April 5th, Friday, April 5th, 2019. I'm recording this 6 days later. As you may have listened to my WrestleMania predictions episode, I ended up not recording anything other than that while I was in New York, mostly because I was on the first floor of my hotel, the first room next to the lobby. Lots of people coming and going outside that I could hear them. I was certain that they could also hear me. Not that I didn't want them listening in on the podcast or anything like that, but, it could just disrupt the audio quality for all you listeners out there. I was also just so tired by the end of each day that you could probably tell in that predictions episode how exhausted I was. I recorded that and then fell asleep to take a nap for like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. My intention was about that long, but I slept a little bit longer than that. And I'll tell you the story about that in my Wrestlemania episode, because that was took place that day. But for right now, I got to talk about TakeOver New York. Also Shimmer 113. That was really fun. I got to see some of my favorites who aren't in the WWE yet. And one who is retiring later this month, Chris Wolf. So I got to see one of her last matches, and it was the first time that I got to see her wrestle in person, and that was super awesome. There are a few other new women that they're not new to Shimmer necessarily, but they're new to me. I haven't seen them wrestle before. I thought they're all really cool, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of all of them. But I didn't take notes about anything at all this entire weekend, so I am really just going off of my memory. It was pretty rainy on Friday. Okay, so first of all, before I get into Shimmer, let's go chronologically through the weekend up to this point. I left early on Thursday morning, had like a 6 a.m. flight, landed about 12 p.m., lunchtime, and then made my way using the subway for the very first time, getting to from the airport to my hotel. And that was a lot easier than I expected it to be. And I used the subway a lot over this weekend, and it worked out pretty well. I did not use it going back to the airport because I wanted a little bit more sleep, and the $30 or whatever the lift was at that time of day was well worth the extra sleep that I got before going over there, especially because I didn't get to sleep very late. I did not sleep very much at all this entire weekend. So one of the painful things about the TakeOver and WrestleMania being in New York and all this stuff being in Brooklyn, having Axxess in Brooklyn, but it's over on Pier 12, which is not close. The subways don't go over near there. So you have to either take buses. Luckily, they had arranged a free shuttle bus that came back and forth between the Barclays Center and Axxess, and then also another subway stop. That was the one where I used both. I used both shuttles at various points throughout the week to get to and from Axxess. But it was kind of a pain to get over there. It take at least 30 minutes, maybe up to an hour total to get over there with all the trains and the different stops you had to take. A couple of the mornings I ended up just getting a lift over there because it's just a lot faster, and I needed that little bit of extra sleep. So the format that they used for Axxess, I talked about in some of my Royal Rumble weekend episodes. I liked it a lot. They kept that same format with having one line for like 3 photos or 3 signature sessions for that line, which made waiting online a lot easier. Now I'm going to give away a little bit of my secrets here. So if you are one of the few listeners, and also one of the few listeners who end up going to Axxess, you've got the jump on a little bit of my strategy and how I got to meet about 69 different wrestlers over the weekend. I got 72 pictures with 72 different people. 72 people, but 3 of those were duplicates that I had met earlier in the weekend. And those 3 people were Brian Kendrick, Akira Tozawa, and who was the third one that I got pictures? Oh, Bobby Roode. Those 3 I met twice. But I'm not going to go through all the different people I met. I do want to talk about the couple of people that I met. The key people that I met, the people that I wanted to meet most. So on Thursday night, that was the first session of Axxess, and I just went straight to the Alexa Bliss photo session line, and the other people in that photo session, I think that was Akira and the Brian Kendrick. So that was the first time I got pictures with them, or it was one of the two, if not both of them. But that was the first thing that I got done this weekend. That was like one of my only goals was to get a picture with Alexa Bliss. And that was awesome. She's very nice. And, it was quick. I didn't want to take up, I know how long that I waited. And I didn't want to add that wait, that any extra wait time for other people as well to get to say hello and all of that. That was awesome. But that went against my strategy for the rest of the weekend. But if I hadn't done that, then I probably wouldn't have been able to get a picture with her anyway. Because I did not get there early enough to really get the jump on the lines like you could. So number 1, get there early to line up if you're in general admission. And even also if you're VIP, get early to line up, because the further in front in line that you get, then you'll be able to get into the line for somebody fastest. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, it's unless you're really picky about meeting a specific person that isn't a VIP. So the way they have it, they have the general admission stuff, which is all these sets of 3 to get photos with. And then they have the VIP and the premium VIP. And that's a line just for a picture and autograph with that person. And those tickets can get pretty pricey, especially on resale. But here's a tip for if the VIP lines, as long as you get there with plenty of time left in the session, because they're only there for 2 of the 4 hours of it, you're going to get a picture and autograph with them, because that's what you paid for. That's what the premium VIP bracelet gets you. So there's no reason to get into that line first thing. There's no reason to do that. Use the advantage of getting in first as a VIP ticket holder to get into one of the other lines, one of the general admission lines that's going to be really popular. So in this case, if I could have done that, I would have done that for Alexa Bliss, gotten through that line a lot faster than like an hour or whatever it was that I was in that line. I did do this on, which was I did it for somebody the night that I had VIP for Ciampa and Baszler. And I was wondering if they're going to change up either one of them if the titles change. And spoilers, we'll get to the actual match that for the women's match, the women's championship match. Shayna did retain it, so she did still have the championship there with her. But it was still Ciampa, so it was awesome to be able to meet him. And he had the neck brace and all of that. But it was so nice to see him and see that he looked pretty good. But what was I saying? So getting that early entry for the VIP gets you that advantage to get into a line right away. And actually, I could probably look that up, but I think my phone is updating. Actually, no, it's good. Okay, let me take a gander at my photo favorites here and see who I got into line before. Let's see. That was Sunday during the day. Who did I get in line with? Line 4. You know what? I went to get in line. No, that was Saturday. Yeah, no, that was in the morning. Where's the evening? Must have been Adam Cole, I think. Maybe. Yeah, I think it was Adam Cole and some other people, something like that. But then on so Monday morning, I guess I'll talk about all the Axxess stuff here. So the tip is go and get into one of the general admission lines that's going to be really possible, such as Adam Cole. On Monday morning, I also got VIP. It was supposed to be AJ Styles, but I guess he got injured on Sunday, and so he couldn't be there for the signing and pictures. But his replacement was pretty good. It was really good. I'll talk about that in the Wrestlemania episode because that is a spoiler for that. But anyway, I didn't go to that VIP right away. I went to the autographs with the Iconics because that was absolutely the most packed line. And then the thing was that some of the sessions it was just like legends and NXT people. So not everybody's really interested in them. They were all packed into the lines for like Mandy Rose and stuff like that. And people like that, like the really popular people, the really photogenic people like Adam Cole, Mandy Rose, Johnny Gargano. That line was ridiculous. Finn Balor, of course. So that's what you want to do if you have VIP is go into one of those general admission lines that has somebody that everybody's going to want to get pictures with and take advantage of your early entry to get there. And then after you do that, maybe hit up a couple, see if there's the less popular folks in there if you want to just get a lot of pictures. And I feel like that's the bit, as far as meeting wrestlers, that's, if you're going to meet a lot of them, if you want to meet a lot of wrestlers and you don't mind too much, not meeting all the biggest stars that everybody's flocking to, just jump into those lines. They'll go pretty quick. Maybe not a whole lot of conversation going on in those lines as much as in the others as well. And just not as many people in the lines anyway. And then you have the changeover at the halfway point, 2 hours in. And at that point, maybe at like 10 before, you jump into the line, one of those quick lines, the short lines, and get the picture of the people who are there for the first half, and then jump right back into the line. And then when the changeover happens, you're in the first, like 10, 20 people. And it's really just a luck of the draw because a lot of people will stand outside of where the queue is, waiting for the display telling you who's in that line to refresh. And sometimes those won't update for 5-10 minutes after the switchover actually happens. And all that time, you could just have been in line and, ready to go. But if you're waiting to see, who's in there, and then I'm going to try to go one of the other lines. Well, those other lines have all of that same amount of people, if not more people, waiting to do exactly the same thing. So your chances are better. Just get into the line and then, get pictures with whoever it is. And then you can go and see what's going on in the other lines. Because if you're outside waiting, you're just going to spend all of that time waiting, doing exactly that. And then people will jump into those other lines before you can get over to them, if you don't necessarily like all the people that are in that line. But you might get lucky. That's how I got lucky getting into the line that changed over, and it was Ricochet and Nikki Cross and Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch. That was probably that was like my favorite set of three that happened that I happened to get with those that changeover strategy. So yeah, those are my main tips for it. I just doing that pretty much all the time. There weren't really any other lines that I stood in for longer than maybe a half hour using those strategies. The longest, other than Alexa Bliss, was probably the line that ended up having Mandy Rose in it. But I took that chance on the changeover, but I did. I was a little bit further back because the first half of that session was Kevin Owens at that photo session. So, I figured I'd give it a shot, and it went pretty well. The two people that, other than Alexa Bliss, that I really wanted to meet, but I actually mostly wanted to get their autographs because I bought the mini United Kingdom Women's Championship belt, because there's only been 2 champions so far, and that's pretty relatively easy to complete, to get everybody to sign that, because it's only Toni Storm and Rhea Ripley. Now I did get to meet both of them this weekend. Rhea Ripley for the first time, and she was like the nicest person out of everybody who I met the whole time. That was the best experience. She was so excited as I was wearing her shirt. Not her shirt, but her shirt, you know what I mean? And just like, pointing at my shirt, and they got excited. And that was super, super awesome. But because there's only photos with both her and Toni Storm, I still don't have their signatures on that mini belt. So I'll just keep taking that with me to the big 4 weekends with the Axxess sessions, hoping that they are in the autograph session parts of them, so I can grab their signatures on there, because that'd be really awesome. Because I got Ciampa and Baszler to sign a mini NXT championship belt. They don't have a mini NXT Women's Championship belt, because I think it's pretty much the same as the regular NXT belt, as are the tag team belts. They're a little bit different, but they don't have the big differences that, like the UK belt, it has the white strap and all that. Anyway, Axxess is awesome. Using those strategies, I met so many people, and then I was also able to watch a lot of matches. I got to see both of the Worlds Collide Battle Royals, a whole bunch of NXT UK. I only took my camera with me on Monday morning. My Panasonic Lumix point and shoot camera. It's a little bit better than my iPhone. Actually, it's a lot better than pictures I can take with my iPhone, but I haven't figured out the good settings to get good action photos, good wrestling action photos. I think next time I'm going to take one of my DSLRs with with a small lens, probably a 50mm or an 85, because I think those fit under the parameters expressed in the rules for what's allowed in. But and then I can really get some good action photos. It got a lot more leeway as far as exposure and shutter speed and all of that kind of stuff. I'm a little bit better with that than I am with the point and shoots, manipulating the settings for that. But anyway, saw a ton of matches for that over this weekend. I probably won't do an episode about them, but they're going to show all this stuff from Worlds Collide. And it's pretty good. I got to see Roderick Strong? yeah, I think it was Roderick Strong versus Tyler Breeze. That was awesome. I get to see Tyler Bate versus the Brian Kendrick. The Brian Kendrick versus ACH. And then okay, so here's another fun story, I think. On Saturday morning, I went straight to the line that was Diamond Dallas Page and who else was it? It was Diamond Dallas Page, Teddy Long or something. It ended up being Ricky Steamboat. So that was really cool. But I was most excited out of those three was Reina Gonzalez from NXT, who has been tag teaming with Rhea Ripley. And she's been on, she was in the Mae Classic on the second one. I think she may have been in the first one too. But yeah, I think she's awesome. And I was really excited to just talk to her, got a picture with her and all that. And I asked her if she had any matches later in the day, because it was all going to be NXT UK, and they've been bringing just NXT people in to fight NXT UK people and all of that. And she said, "Yeah, I have a match later on." And I said, "Well, I'm gonna try and catch it. I'm definitely gonna try and see it." And I was able to go and see that match. She was fighting. Oh man, who did she fight? Let's see. It was Piper Niven. That's who she fought. So that'll be on NXT UK in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, that was awesome. I asked her about the match and I told her, well, I'm definitely going to check it out. And then I was able to post a picture that said, "Hey, it was great to meet you." And I got to see her match later. It was great. And then I also got to see her in the Battle Royal the next morning. So that was really cool. And I had it wrong. I was looking through the photos to see who she fought, and the other people being was Diamond Dallas Page and Bobby Roode. Ricky Steamboat was the next day, along with Ruby Riott. So that was a really cool pair to meet both of them. But what was I saying? Oh, I think it may have been, I felt kind of bad because I talked to her a bunch and then not at all really to DDP or to Bobby Roode. I was just like, "Oh, it's great to meet you." That was it, basically. So I don't know. Maybe they are offended. Maybe not. Maybe they didn't care at all. But she was like way into meeting everybody. It was very excited and all that. So, yeah, Reina is awesome. And if you have a chance to meet her or just say hello or just cheer for her when she has a match, I say do it. Even though she's a heel currently, still give her a few claps of the hands when she does some cool stuff. Then another story that I wanted to tell before I forget, talking about Axxess stuff, is the very last photo session of the entire thing, because there wasn't going to be time to go through another line. There was still like 30 minutes left, but I had seen all the exhibits. They have like ring gear and all kinds of other stuff on display from WrestleManias throughout the year, which is really cool. But you only really have to go through all those. You only need to look at those exhibits like once, maybe twice. So half hour before I was done, I got some food and then got onto the show or whatever. But at that particular station, they had been handing out the entire weekend. They were handing out this tap out body spray. And they did not give away all of it throughout the weekend. They had boxes and boxes and boxes of it left. And I thought the guy was joking me. He was just like handing me the box. I was like, "Oh, I'll take it. Haha, I'm helping you take it out to wherever you're taking it." And he's like, "No, that's yours. No take backs." Like, "Take it." I'm like, what? No, I don't have anywhere. I can't get this home. And then the guy who was in line behind me, he comes up and he gets handed a box and he's like, "What is it? I don't want this. I don't want this either." He's like, no take backs. You don't. We're like, "Okay, whatever." So we both like walk away, And I go over to the restroom, which is like in the next room, and I set the box down next to the drinking fountains, then go inside to use the restroom and all that. And the guy that was behind me, he does the same thing. And we come out of there, and we just pretend that we have nothing to do with those boxes, just ignore them and walk away. So I apologize to whoever ended up having to deal with those. If somebody didn't just like pick them up and keep it for themselves, good for them. But it was actually like a real annoyance because like I flew there. You give me this big box. It was like a 12 by 12 box. Probably like at least 12 bottles of this body spray in there. Body spray that I'm not going to use that. I have this stuff that I like, the stuff that I use. I'm not going to, yeah, anyway, I did not check a bag for this. I don't have room in my luggage for that stuff. And he's like, oh, you could ship it to yourself. Like, no, like for all you know, I'm heading straight here over to the arena. That's nonsense. You're just giving me a chore to do. That's all it's doing. Whatever it is, I would have rather if you asked me a chore to do to pay, to go and pay something to spend money to get this free thing back home to me that I'm not going to use. It's a huge pain. You may as well have just asked me, hey, could you take this out to the dumpster for me? And at that point, I would have been like, oh yeah, sure. No problem, man. I'm like done for the day. I'm just hanging out for the next few minutes anyway. I can take this over to one of the rolly bins that's right outside the arena. That's no problem. And, but I didn't do that because that's not what they asked me to do. Instead I, left it there by the bathroom, and some poor maintenance person, custodial staff ends up with all these boxes piled up next to the bathroom. And then the tap out guys get yelled at. It's like, why did all these end up over here? Why don't you guys like get rid of this yourselves, huh? So I apologize for any problems I caused, but I told him there's no way for me to get this home. So I don't want it. No takebacks. I don't want it. No takebacks. Okay, I'll leave it by the bathroom. Okay, anyway, I think that's enough about Axxess. This has been a long episode. I told y'all that this is going to be a really long episode about everything, but I do need to get through this one quick because through the actual takeover itself, I talked about Shimmer enough already because I can't remember a lot of specifics. But it was awesome to see Mercedes Martinez there. Vita Scott was there in the scramble match. We had Nicole Savoy defend her championship in the opening match. We had Dust defend her the Heart of Shimmer championship in the main event. That was a pretty cool match. I forget the name of her opponent. I only remember Dust because it's a weird name and it's one syllable. And I forget Nicole Savoy's opponent also in the opening match. But yeah, that match was awesome. It was like a great way to start the whole thing. That scramble was really fun. I think we ended up with is it an 8-woman? No, it was a 6-woman tag team. No, it was an 8-woman tag team match. I forget their names. But there's a whole chain of fishhooks going on. But Chris Wolf was in. That was the Chris Wolf's match, and she fishhooked someone with her tail, and that was it seemed kind of gross. But that was really fun. And then there's this new to me girl who I don't know her name, but I believe she was one of the tag team partners who appeared on SmackDown. They're like the Brooklyn Hellas or something like that. So one half of that team was her that was in this match that I really liked. And I really like her gimmick that she's an alien and that she like doesn't understand a lot of Earth stuff, and she's like trying to eat somebody's streamers that had been thrown into the ring, about to do the test of strengthening with their hands out, and then she just like pokes at one of the fingers of I think it was the referee's fingers actually, but I really enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun, and there are a ton of great matches on that show. So when it's available online, I think it's on Fight TV. Probably it's part of that whole broadcast from that La Boom venue. But that's the only non-WWE show that I went to this whole week. Unlike last year at WrestleMania, where it's like all over the place, went to Kaiju, Big Battle, and all that kind of stuff. I wish I could have gone to more, but I had so much fun at Axxess. It would have been like instead of that, and also it's everything is like all over the place. It's kind of tough to get everywhere. Not really difficult, but like time consuming, that you really just had to take the subway to get to all the other places. And that particular venue was 1 hour each way to get to from where I was. But it was worth it. It was worth it for that one show. It was a really fun show. So let's talk about TakeOver. They had 3 matches that they filmed before TakeOver, and those have now aired as of this recording, as this week's episode 501 of NXT. But I'll talk about those in this coming week's episode, in that actual episode's review. So I'm actually at this moment wearing a shirt, so that helps. I don't have to look up what's going on. We had the Tag Team Championship match, which was amazing. War Raiders versus Aleister Black and Ricochet. Oh my God. I tweeted, like, one of the only things I tweeted during the whole show. Like, I actually, maybe I tweeted that on Sunday or whenever I tweeted. Ricochet is some kind of wrestling god. He is ridiculous. Like, man, he's so good. Aleister Black also, and the War Raiders. Holy crap. So the War Raiders won. They successfully defended their championship. And, amazing. Because we've seen so much cool stuff, like with War Games and everything, with the gimmicks stuff going on. There's just a tag team on tag team action. This was killer. Then we had, what happened right after that? I think it was Matt Riddle versus the Velveteen Dream. Amazing entrance by Velveteen. Somebody had shared in like the group chat that we had with everybody going with WrestleMania plans group chat thing. Somebody had posted his t-shirt design that had him as like the Statue of Liberty. And I joked, and it was kind of a prediction. I was like, oh, that's going to be his entrance gear. And it was. I didn't say like, I told you so or anything like that. But in my head, I was like, I told you so. So that was awesome. I definitely need to rewatch this whole TakeOver on the network so I can see up close. Because during the entrances, they don't show that on the Tron. So I can see like all the details and all that of his entrance gear. I could see the details always what his ring gear was, but not like the head, the hat or whatever, the whole getup that he had. This match I enjoyed greatly. I tweeted after each match, I was like, this first match, the first match, tag team match, I said 10 out of 10. And the second match, I said, Velveteen Dream versus Matt Riddle, 10 out of 10. And the next match, we had Walter versus Pete Dunne. Amazing. So different from the other matches, but it's just as awesome. Walter won the United Kingdom Championship, bringing Pete Dunne's over 2-year reign. I think it was over 2 years. Maybe not quite 2 years. it was approaching 700 days. So yeah, it was under 2 years. But Walter is a new United Kingdom champion. Oh, by the way, Velveteen Dream, he successfully defended against Matt Riddle. So the Dream is still champion. But Walter is the new United Kingdom champion. And that's really cool. I have not met him yet. He was at Axxess, but he was alongside somebody else that was really popular. He himself is very popular, I think. And then whoever was paired up with him in that grouping, it was a big line. So I wasn't able to go meet him, get a picture with him or anything. But that match was fantastic. 10 out of 10. Then we had the women's championship match. Shayna Baszler defending against Bianca Belair, Kairi Sane, and Io Shirai. Pretty much everything involving Io was amazing. And then Kairi had some awesome stuff in there as well. And Bianca had some awesome stuff in there. Shayna had some awesome stuff in there. I loved this match. And I kind of felt like Bianca, I think it was Bianca who ended up, who got tapped? Did Bianca get tapped out? Maybe it was, I can't remember the exact details. Whoever it was who got tapped out by Shayna, I feel like it made a lot of sense because a lot of the wins, the near falls were saved by the other competitors getting in and breaking up the pinfall or the submissions, etc. And when it finally did happen that Shayna got the win, it was because whoever it was that she was tapping out had just cleared the ring of the other two competitors. So it was like kind of her own fault that her other opponents weren't able to break it up and prevent the match from ending. And so I thought it worked really well. I didn't mind at all that Shayna is still champion. I got to get a picture with her with the championships the next night. So I kind of selfishly enjoy that. But yeah, I tweeted afterwards, Fatal 4-Way, 10 out of 10. I loved it. And I mean, I would say I understand why this match could be seen regarded as the worst, quote unquote, worst match of the night. But being the worst match on the TakeOver is like that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like it could be like a really great match, like I thought this match was, and still have 4 other matches that are even better. And technically, yeah, that makes it the worst match, but it's not a bad match. So yeah, I thought it was awesome. And then, oh my God, the main event, freaking Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole, 2 out of 3 falls. I don't even know where to begin with this. Of course, we ended up with the 1-1, and so the third fall would determine who would be the champion. This match is so freaking good. So freaking good. So freaking good. This match is so freaking this match was so freaking good. Johnny Gargano wins the championship, and then Candice LeRae comes out. So they celebrate. And at the top of the ramp, Tommaso Ciampa comes out as happy for his best friend, and it's great. It's so good. This match is so good. Oh, I actually just talking about it. I didn't talk about any specifics from the match, but I want to go back and watch it now. The friggin' the Undisputed Era gets involved at one point, and Johnny Gargano just fights them all off in like this friggin' action sequence that's straight out of a friggin' movie. And it was amazing. And Adam Cole still doesn't get a good enough advantage to win the championship. And Gargano keeps on fighting through it, and wins. It was freaking awesome. It's so freaking awesome. He's doing like, he like ran up, one of the guys kicked him in the face and then kicked the other guy, and like it was then into a DDT. It was like, what is going on here? It's so awesome. By the way, another awesome tag team. That wasn't a tag team thing. It's kind of a tag team thing, but a really awesome tag team thing that happened in like the next day on NXT UK. Look out for this. I think it was, shoot, is Mustache Mountain versus, who were they fighting? It was awesome though. Tyler Bate caused a guy to DDT another guy, his teammate. He caused a guy to DDT his own teammate. That was awesome. There's all kinds of that stuff in the Mustache Mountain matches that I saw. So good. So good. Oh, so yeah, of course, I give that match 10 out of 10. So overall, NXT TakeOver New York 2019, episode 500 of NXT, freaking 10 out of 10, 50 out of 50, 500 out of 500. It was freaking awesome. And it's actually kind of amazing that in some ways, WrestleMania was so good that it kind of made me forget about TakeOver. The best TakeOver ever. And WrestleMania topped it in a couple of ways and made me forget about it for a little bit. But now I remember, it's all flooding back to me. And TakeOver New York, amazing. If you haven't watched it, you know what happens now. You know who won all the matches now. But go back and watch it. If you already have seen it, go back and watch it again. I am absolutely going to go and watch it again. So I recommend you do the same. So with this super, super extra long episode just about TakeOver and Axxess and Shimmer, that's it for right now. I gotta do my episode about WrestleMania next. I'll probably do that tomorrow during the day. So stay tuned for that. And then I'll slowly catch up, do all the Raw after Mania, SmackDown after Mania, and this week's episodes, the next week's episodes of NXT and NXT UK. NXT UK, I have not, I don't know what happens in that one, but we got Tony Storm versus Ginny in that episode. I do know I did see what happened, who wins that match. So, it'll be mostly new information, but I'll talk about that, in an upcoming episode. I'll hopefully be able to catch up before the end of the weekend so that I'll be just right back on track with the Superstar shakeup. But I'm not going to even mention anything about that because I haven't even talked about WrestleMania. So let me know what you thought about all this stuff by tweeting me at TIW Podcast. Go to TIWpodcast.com for more reviews. If you enjoyed this episode or anything else on the site, please share some links with your friends. Subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, wherever you like to listen to podcasts. And I'll be back real soon with the next thing. Thanks for listening. This has been TIW Podcast. Bye.